Most leaders take time to work on the competence in their skills, but they don't take time to work on themselves in leadership. Today, we want to give you a few books that we think every Christian leader should have in their library. Coming up. Hey guys, I'm Ronaldo with VineMedia, and we love to help Christ followers mature in Christ. And we make a lot of different videos like how-tos and tips and tricks. If you have any value in our channel, we would love for you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Today's video is a little bit different than the ones we've done in the past. We're not looking at biblical resources or Christian practice resources. We're actually looking at Christian leadership resources. And all of these books we've personally read and we've wrestled with, and we really think that they can add value to your life wherever you are in the leadership scale, whether you're a pastor and senior pastorship, or you're a ministry leader, or if you're aspiring to be a leader. These books are extremely helpful in the process of leadership and acting out in leadership. So we hope you can take these to heart. We hope you can invest in yourself beyond just what you do, but in who you are and who God is in your life. So the first book I want to share with you guys is called Strengthening the Soul of Your Leadership. There's the cover right there by Ruth Haley Barton. This book in my particular season of life has actually been my go-to leadership book. I love what Ruth Haley Barton uncovers here as she understands that even in ministry, there are places where we find ourselves where we're lost. I was 10 years in full-time ministry, pastorship, just doing so much. And this book has been such a tremendous help. The kind of the tagline of this book is, I'm tired of helping others enjoy God, and I'm not. And so this just kind of brings you back. If you're in ministry leadership, it brings you back to the point of it all. And the point of it all is your relationship with God. She walks through Moses' life and through a series of so many things, ideas and thoughts. She extracts from Moses' lives some timeless truths that I think are extremely important for any leader, especially any Christian leader. And she wrestles with some stuff that are so true in leadership, such as not paying attention to ourselves in leadership, such as the struggle with calling. She deals with loneliness in leadership, so many different things. Strengthening the soul of your leadership is really highly recommended. It's a short read, about 240 pages or so, and this can help you wherever you are in your ministry and in your leadership. Pick this up, add it to your library, if not for this season, for another season. This is a 5-star recommendation. If you would pick this up and dig into the truth that's in here. The next book I want to recommend is a book that's very dear to my heart because this is who I am. It's titled The Introverted Leader, and it is by Jennifer Canwheeler, PhD. And this is building leadership as an introvert, or rather opening the door of the possibility of being a leader and a great leader while being an introvert. This isn't a Christian book, if you will. It doesn't have really scriptural references or anything like that. But this is such a helpful book for both introverts and extroverts. And I'm going to tell you why. One, if you're an introvert, sometimes it's hard to understand why you would be called to leadership, or how you could navigate leadership at being an introvert and being that type of personality. Because in leadership it feels like an extroverted world, right? But this helps and points things out, and even has examples, real life examples, business CEOs that are introverted, that are doing very well. And it just helps you understand that you can, and gives you some practical tips. On the other side, this is a great read for extroverts as well. Because if you're an extrovert in leadership, chances are that you are leading some people who are introverted. And so reading a book like this can help you get in the mind of some of your introverted leaders that are underneath you, or that are your peers, so that way you can understand them not from your perspective but from their perspective. And so The Introverted Leader is a great read, not only for the introvert but also for the extrovert. Pick this up. The next book I want to recommend is called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and this is by Patrick Lencioni. This book is different than any of the other books that we have today. This is actually a leadership fable, and a fable is a short story. This isn't written sort of informatively. This is written as a narrative, as a short story, and has the moral outcome. Lencioni explores some fundamental failures that happen in teams. This book is all about teamwork, and it has different characters, and they navigate issues and handle things differently, and you can see the way they handle them. You could probably place yourself in the narrative, but this is a great resource to look at. It's a great resource to navigate. It really pinpoints what he calls these 5 dysfunctions that can really tear apart a lot of teams. Again, this isn't overtly Christian, but this is so helpful. So if you're a leader, this is a great book to go with through with your team, and talk about these things, and help pinpoint some of the things that perhaps are present in your team that you can deal with. And so this is a great resource that you can go through. And they even have, if you look at Amazon, they even have like some study guides and guides that you can actually read the book and then answer questions and talk about it. And so it's a great resource to have in your leadership role. The next book I want to recommend is Didn't See It Coming by Carey Nieuwhof. This is for leaders that are seasoned in leadership. You've been in ministry, you've been in leadership positions for some time, and this is he points out 7 great challenges that a lot of people end up encountering, but they're never prepared for in leadership. Because when you go into leadership, the reality is you go in optimistic, you go in trying to change and desiring to change the world, or change the ministry that you're in, or the church that you're a part of, or the team that you're involved in. And oftentimes all of that comes crashing to a breaking point at times. And so he deals with these things, and just a couple of the topics that he deals with, the challenges that he deals with, are cynicism that creep in that you don't even realize, disconnection from what you are doing. Pride kicks in, and that can be a great challenge. Burnout kicks in. These are all things that, if we're not careful, these are things that can definitely be involved in the church, in church leadership. And so this is a book that if you've been in leadership for a while, and maybe you're feeling a little uneasy, or maybe things haven't gone the way you hoped or wished, pick this book up, jump into it, and confront these challenges, because if you do not confront them, if you do not face them, they will devour you if not dealt with. And so this is a great book for the seasoned leader. The next book I highly recommend is The Emotionally Healthy Leader by Pete Scazzero. This is all about transforming your inner life to then transform your ministry or your church or your team. This book is actually a part of even a series. Pete Scazzaro has Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. He has Emotionally Healthy Discipleship. That's new. He has Emotionally Healthy Church. So this is a book that you can go through wherever you are in church leadership, or you can give to your pastor. You can go through with your team. This is all about transforming your inner life to then help transform the church or ministry that you are a part of. Much like strengthening the soul of your leadership, this deals with you personally as you wrestle and battle through leadership, because leadership isn't easy. And one of the things and points I love about this book is early on in chapter 2, it talks about facing your shadow, and really deals and delves into understanding why we do the things we do, why we react the way we react in leadership. A lot of times we just think we're a strong leader. We just think things have to be a certain way. But in this book, it really begins to unpack and peel away at who we are, and really challenges us, leaders and church leadership, to really not focus so much on making an impact outwardly, but understanding the impact that God wants to make on us inwardly. And so the Emotionally Healthy Leader, it's also available in Spanish, I believe. And so however your ministry, or whatever ministry or church you're a part of, this is a book that I think is greatly helpful. If you're in senior leadership, this is also another great book that you can share with your team and talk about and go through. There's a lot of questions and assessments that you can do together. Emotionally Healthy Leader, very, very highly recommended resource to have. The next book I want to recommend for Christian leaders to have in any point is Good to Great by Jim Collins. This is an oldie but a goodie. This book is about 20 years old now at the time of this recording, so it's not a new book, but it's a great book. This book is also not overtly Christian, but it has a lot of Christian principles and thoughts in it, and it can help ministries, and it can help teams and leaders as well. So what Jim Collins does in this book is he looks at 11 out of all the companies you could have. He starts doing research, and is research based, looking at companies, then cutting out, ends up with 11 companies that he believes are great companies. Then he looks at competitors and that don't quite match the greatness, right? And kind of just compares all this. And the tagline of this book is that the enemy of great is good. When something is good, you're satisfied with it. But he says there's opportunity to be great. And I think that can also be very true with churches and with ministries, that things are good and we end up being satisfied, but that also leads to being stuck. So pursuing greatness, especially when we think about the kingdom of God, like we have the message to go and touch the world, that we shouldn't be settling for good. We should be striving for greatness. Now, a disclaimer on this book, since it is that old, some of the companies you'll read about, you may have, one, never heard of them, or two, say, when they're not doing that great now if you kind of look them up. But the reality is that they were once great. Maybe they didn't continue the practices and findings that they did in their research, especially throughout the 90s. But two, there's no scientific method in leadership or in business, right? And so he's not selling a technique. What he's really putting forward is a concept and a mindset and an approach. And whether it works on some businesses or not, the reality is that mindset and that approach has a lot of value. And so I think whether the companies are still functioning or still considered great today is irrelevant. I think that the ideas found in this book is a great resource for leaders. It's a great resource for businesses, and it's a great resource for churches to understand why perhaps some ministries are failing, why perhaps their church isn't doing as great as they wanted to. And this is a great resource to have in your library as well. But there you go, 6 books, 6 resources that I think every Christian leader should have in their possession, in their library, no matter where you are, whether you're in senior leadership or you're an aspiring leader. These books will help you grow in your leadership. I will say this as we close this video out. None of this is exhaustive, and I understand and strongly believe that the Bible is the greatest book and resources that we have for our leadership. Prayer is an amazingly important resource in our leadership. The empowering and breath of the Holy Spirit to come upon us in our ministry and in our leadership is of utmost importance. That is all understood. These are simply to be alongside of those spiritual, practical practices that you have already, I'm trusting that you already are doing. These are additions to help you in your leadership and in your ministry and in your church. We hope you enjoyed this video. Again, all of the links for these books are in the description below. And again, if you find any value in our content, we'd love for you to subscribe. Check us out also on Instagram, and we will see you next time.